All right, we back, and we just saw Babylon. Thoughts?
Decadence, depravity, and outrageous excess lead to the rise and fall of several ambitious dreamers in 1920s Hollywood. Pretty good summary. It's a movie about excess. It's a movie about a lot.
It's a movie about Hollywood.
And the transition from silent film to sound, and then eventually, spoilers, into color. Color. The first, 2/3, I would say, I really loved, and it was, just non-stop. The last third, when they try to introduce the whole love story, I felt like it slowed down, quite a bit, and for me, it kind of fell off at that point. Let's just say an elephant took a massive shit in the last third of it, for me. But overall, I liked it. I loved the first 2/3. Not a fan of the last. What did you think?
I liked it as a whole, I guess. I agree, the end was dragging a lot of bit. I didn't mind the love story. I felt like that was, of course, she was gonna run off at the end. I knew that was coming. I kind of saw how everybody would end. I just thought he would get shot, and he didn't. Spoiler.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a cool movie. I liked it. Let me think about it some more. It was very, very Hollywood, and I loved all the parts of. I feel like that was Hollywood. They captured it well.
What's it called? The Wolf of Wall Street about movies.
I felt like it was actually a remake of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or whatever. It felt very similar to that film.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
just in the 20s.
Wolf of Wall Street mixed with Little Caesar. Yeah, there's just a lot. It felt like the filmmaker was just throwing it all out there.
Yeah, throwing it all out there.
Just the first scene, when an elephant shits on the camera, that's a good representation of what you're gonna get, at least for the first 2/3 again.
At least half of the movie, because the end was already slowing down when they started to all become kind of has-beens.
Yeah, it was kind of half.
But at the beginning, they were going pretty hard. But it was I feel like they were trying to say, this is the life. The life is nonstop. You never get a break. And then when we started getting near that midpoint, everybody's career started to taper off a little bit.
Yeah.
So things started to get less quick, less paced, more I feel like the story started in the latter half for all the characters.
That's what I was gonna say. It's I was trying to decipher a plot in the first third of it, in the first hour, but I guess I kind of just let it pass. Kind of like you said with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's just kind of you're watching these people's lives.
Yeah.
Go into chaos, and
it was their story. Their life story is the movie.
You're following all these different people.
And how their decisions have affected their Hollywood journey.
Yeah, they kind of gave short shrift to Sidney Palmer, I feel.
But he left Hollywood, so of course his shit would be, and then we catch up with him later.
Yeah. Let's see. I loved all those sets in early Hollywood, 20s Hollywood, when they're just going from set to set and all the craziness is going on. Yeah, it was frantic. It was plots and plots. It was great character development. Drugs, partying, fucking
sex. Don't forget sex. Lots
boobs
of
of all types.
Lots of boobs. I was enjoying it. Lots of cocaine.
Lots of jazz music.
I like the music. The music was hitting hardest for me, honestly. But he said, I feel like they were paying attention to the music to try and tell the story. I don't know how you say that musically, I guess, too, auditorily.
But I guess the overall themes were, the transition from silent. The main story we were following was, what's his name again?
Brad
Mexican
Pitt.
Cat.
I forgot. Manny.
Don't call him Manuel.
And Margot Robbie. They were both the main character. And Brad Pitt, though. Brad Pitt, I felt was a very main character.
But his storyline was very basic to me.
I felt like his was the most powerful. I could feel his shit the most.
It's been done so many times. Like, yeah, he's
I
a
agree,
has-been,
but
he's
Brad
washed
Pitt,
up.
he did it. He did it
He
well.
can't transition to the next era of Hollywood. So the conversation with
That was art, boy. That was art.
The producer was pretty powerful.
With the lady at the end, the writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was art.
And he's just like, you left a legacy that you can't do anymore. Like, they won't respect, like, the next generation won't really appreciate you until they've caught up with your previous work, essentially, right?
No, she was saying that you live on forever by being in this film.
But the fact that, like, he didn't feel appreciated, he wasn't getting good roles.
He was just coming to terms with being a has-been.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the generation wasn't gonna appreciate his current.
That's not no. She was saying his career is over, basically. Yeah. And they appreciated him, but he needs to understand his time is done.
His time is done. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't anything about like them they appreciated him now.
But
she
it
was
seemed
saying let your career go.
When they were laughing at him in the movies, they were like,
because his career was over.
Dude, yeah,
because his career was over.
But I think that, like, that generation might not be familiar with his earlier work. Kind of just like certain people's career.
No, he just couldn't act anymore. That's what she was saying. It was like, nigga, you can't act anymore.
I know.
And just face it.
I mean, who's a has-been that, like, of this generation?
Hollywood is different now.
Yeah.
There isn't the same constraints, How is Jay-Z still rapping at like 85? I'm just kidding. He's like 40 something, maybe 50.
Who's
but people
I guess Harrison Ford, maybe.
You don't really get has-been, because, I mean, he's still making movies, and we want to say we're going to laugh, but you saw the end of the movie where they showed the CG. That's how people stay alive and around.
Yeah, but what was the last good Harrison Ford movie?
Are you kidding me? Star Wars?
Yeah, that was a decade ago.
I rock with Harrison Ford. I think he has been in a movie recently I liked. I can't remember what it was, though, but he was in it.
Well, we'll see about it. We'll see if he's got it back, because Crystal Skull was horrible, in my opinion.
Well, we're getting off topic. But, so, I thought the camera work was magnificent. I really enjoyed that. I thought the cuts and stuff were really cool in this movie. Like, there was a lot of these, like, pan kind of things, and I like those. Maybe I just like to do them, but I liked all the pan stuff that they were doing. I liked our main character, Manny. I didn't think he would be the main character, but he was, and it was cool to watch his journey, like, kind of start with Margot Robbie, because I feel like I've had that moment with people in Hollywood before, where it's like, we start a project or we start something, and you look back, and, like, a lot of time has passed, and niggas been rocking with each other and been working hard and doing a lot of big things. So I can relate to it just on some Hollywood.
Yeah, just their humble beginnings. Both of them were looking to get in. Obviously, he was a little bit had it a little bit harder to get up from where he was, just being a little butler servant picking up shit for elephants. And
but you see
his
how
rise
he manifested it.
His rise was pretty impressive. He just did whatever like a PA does to sort of get up in today's day. Yeah, he was just, putting in the work, running to get the camera to get that sunset shot at the end.
That was epic. That was epic.
Or at the beginning, but before the end of the day. And I mean,
that whole sequence was epic. Like that day that they went through, you know what I mean? Like 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, lunch, like all that was epic.
I mean, that was a movie within a movie, basically. Like, and that's why it's like, it's so much involved in it that it was maybe too much for me. Like, too many elements to juggle. And I did enjoy it overall, but again, like, the pace like slowed, and then there was that whole thing with Tobey Maguire.
Oh,
and
that
the
was
money.
so extra. It was funny. Don't get me wrong. It was funny, but it was very extra. Like, what is the point of this
That's
scene?
what I'm saying. Like,
that whole end part
like
was
Margot
ridiculous.
Robbie owed money. I mean, they kind of set it up with her gambling stuff.
Yeah, but they could have cut the movie and you could have got it still.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? In a lot of ways, they could have cut the movie.
Give him the funny money, the prop money, and then it was
That could've all been
it was a
cut
whole seeing that. Yeah, that
It
yeah,
could've
it
gone
just
from
was veered off.
her
into,
saying like when she came to the house to them like going to that club on the way out. You know what I mean? And we didn't need any of that other stuff.
What other stuff?
Like Tobey Maguire chasing them through the tunnels, and
I mean, that was fun.
it was fun,
enjoying
but it was just like, this is getting long now. I felt like Disney was starting to get into the extra mode, like, well, what's even gonna happen? Like, I feel like Brad Pitt was dead at that point.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
I saw it coming from
Me too,
away.
for sure. Even when they showed the bathroom, immediately I knew. I guess when they showed the shot of him sitting there, I knew that he was gonna do that.
That was the last goodbye between the Asian lady
And him, yeah, for sure.
I saw it.
Yeah, when she did the look back and they had that shot of him like over his shoulder, yeah, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn. I didn't want to see him go out like that. And he left Maria Cabrera or whatever that actress name is, Camila Cabrera. That was on her? Yeah, that was crazy. He went out on the wrong wife.
She's like, yeah, take care of her or something, or like watch over her or something like that.
Save her for me or something.
Save her for me. Yeah. I'm just trying to be like that guy.
That was disgusting. That guy was disgusting. Oh my Lord, I couldn't even deal with his character. Honestly, all of them in there were told, like, once we got, that's why I didn't like that part. I feel like it did illustrate, like, maybe there's a darker side to the city. That part I got. But God, those dudes were also like dirty and nasty.
It's like the plot just goes where it wants to. It doesn't really, there's no...
Yeah, it didn't adhere to but it did. It did adhere to a story arc, but it was his story arc. And he had a lot of little wild ups and downs. But I mean, like, while we're following him, we are following Margot Robbie and Brad Pitt too, as real characters. Like, but they're all like protagonists. It's not like it's one person's story and we're following their one, linear story and everybody else is kind of side characters. Like, they are all the protagonists. But it's showing like in LA and everybody is a star like that, like
it's another LA movie, except I haven't seen anything like that before. Like all the sound stuff too, where they're trying to figure out the technology. And so it's like the growing pains of new technology, basically, which is the theme.
Oh man, that was hilarious. Oh, like classic.
Yeah,
that
the
was
sound
hilarious,
guy is
man.
just so fucking particular.
Oh,
not particular because he has to be, because there's so many elements that they have to take into account. And they like, who the fuck? And then it's the fucking producer or the executive.
Yeah, that was gold. That was gold.
And bro dies of heat exhaustion.
That was sad. I didn't want to see him go out like that. That was very sad, actually. Because I knew they were going to do that to him. You know what I mean? Like, I knew that was going to happen. I was just like, dang. Another day in Hollywood.
Yeah, bro. That's why when the love story kind of happened, I felt like I wasn't as interested in it.
Hey, love happens in Hollywood, bro.
Like, they didn't have that type of relationship. Like, yes, he loved her from the beginning, but...
I also felt like, that was a very one-sided thing the whole time. And she was just crazy. So when she said, I was still like, bro, who are you kidding? Like, she's a wild child. They said
maybe that's how it is.
She said she could not be tamed. That was her character.
That's how enticing
she could not be tamed.
Is. And she needed him, and he got the upper status on her from how it was in the beginning, and so she felt like he could help. Like, it's a typical LA story.
She was broke. Like, that was the typical LA part, was that she blew through. He said 85,000 is all it is.
That's why she would agree to go with him to Mexico, because
just off impulse.
If she was rich and famous, she might have not had anything to do with him.
Yeah, she was just doing everything off impulse, off danger and impulse. That's all her whole character was, every single second. And it got exhausting, if I'm being honest. Sometimes Margot Robbie was a bit much, but for the story, it was worth it. So I was just like, whatever.
And we got a Margot Robbie titty, so that
wouldn't be the first time, but it was solid. It was solid. I like Brad Pitt, and I didn't like him in Bullet Train, so I had beef with Brad, but he brought it back for me.
I've always liked.
We gang
BP.
now. Brad's back.
BP's always
Stop!
solid.
Please don't do that again. Whoa. That was like in Avengers when he's like, "Hey, Cap."
Man. Don't talk bad about.
Yeah, he
BP.
did great though. He did great. I really enjoyed that. He was actually my favorite character. Manuel was pretty good, and Margot Robbie was fantastic too. But something about Brad Pitt's character
Brad Pitt
was like
the actor that brought Manny onto the scene. Like,
and he had a complete arc, man. He died. Like, I like that kind of stuff. I'm sad that happened, but I felt his character going through all that. And I thought it was
just
cool
like,
because it was subtle. Like, he was never crying, or he was never that guy. It's like you could just see the situation and be like, fuck, this dude's going through it.
Yeah, it was like at the beginning you saw his process a little bit. Like, he was a legit actor that was like one of the best out there. And, you know, he had a little bit of a drinking problem, but you saw when the camera rolled, like, he was just...
Yeah, he just transformed.
He transformed.
That was all of them. I loved that. I felt like Nicole Kidman was sitting, the spirit of Nicole Kidman was sitting in the theater right next to me.
Yeah.
Because when you're here, whatever. I don't remember what she was saying. It is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because here, it is.
Movies are part of blah.
Yeah, no,
I could recite it.
My friend John can actually recite that whole thing.
Yeah,
He's funny.
Yeah, everyone was on point with the acting.
Everyone.
I mean, Margot Robbie during the fucking crying scenes, amazing, just incredible. During the dancing scenes, like, she's a star. She's a fucking, I guess she has been, but you know.
There was some blackface in there. My black people know that there was some blackface in there. It was okay though. It did it tastefully, but I was still pissed they put that shit in that movie.
I actually thought that was a very powerful.
I thought it was powerful
scene.
too. They did it very well. I was just mad. You know, I don't like to see that type of shit because, you know, I'm just me. But
blackface. I mean, look at what it's just like. This is gonna be, you know, in the
one
South.
Time, yeah.
Like, they're gonna have to differentiate. Yeah.
It was sellout. That was very sellout. But he quit afterwards, and I was with that. I respected that.
I mean, his acting in that moment was.
Yeah. Well, he said, like, bro, if you don't do this, nobody gets a check. So he did it for the gang, and then he just quit. And I respected that.
Yeah. But again, like, I would have liked just sheer ratio of on-screen time. Like, I felt like his was definitely lower than all the others.
No, for sure. But I mean, I was glad they had a black character we could follow, period, if I'm being honest. But
like,
yes,
I would have liked
him
him go home and talk to people about it, not just be playing trumpet all
and
the time.
talking
Even
to
though
him.
it's
I feel
great.
like, yeah, they didn't build him up the same way. Like, I feel like all we knew about his backstory was like maybe he was homeless or he was sleeping in that weird place. But and he had beef with that other guy. But we really didn't learn about him.
Yeah.
We just kind of went through his. I guess that was all the characters. We just got a little bit more, like you said, screen time with everybody else.
A lot of
so
dialogue
they talked about their past.
Yeah.
And he didn't talk about his.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
There was a lot of dialogue between Brad Pitt and just people. Like, I felt like we could have toned it down there.
Well, I can maybe agree with that, but he was Brad Pitt. They had to do it for the, you know, for the moviegoers so that they would pay for the ticket.
Yeah.
And he did a good job. Like, Brad Pitt did a good job, man.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
I felt his scenes, you know?
Just like all his wives, all his girlfriends, just
you're just rotating through them, I know. But you can see he was kind of an ass a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was, you know, but it was, and see, that was the crazy thing is because he was going through it too. And, you know, some of those scenes, like,
he's like, when his theater wife that was like trying to coach him, bro.
And then his friend dies, like his best fucking friend.
Yeah.
And I feel like when his friend died, he just like couldn't even act anymore, actually. Like, that was the person who was making him really have the juice.
Although,
and when George died, it was just like, well, fuck, dude, like, I can't even do this.
It was kind of ridiculous how he, like, why he died. It was like, another woman or something.
It was like he had a weird addiction to getting into relationships, getting rejected, and trying to kill himself.
Shit.
Which was awesome. Like, his character as the character was great.
It's just like the depression of that, and how you can see someone just get it being so
being in loops where it's
so fucked up.
We got to get George again. That was
just
awesome.
At the beginning, like, he's about to drive off a cliff. You gotta come save him.
He's in the toilet, and he's stuck in the toilet the rest of the scene.
Bro, such a sad, tragic character.
Yeah, but it's like you could feel the fun, and I feel like that is this place. Like, it's highs and lows at the max.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it really does ebb and flow, and it is fun. It is fun. To all you people want to move to Los Angeles, it is fun. But be careful, Hollywood is wild.
Just,
But they
just
captured it well.
those first couple of scenes were just like so much was going on. You could pay attention to the background and all the fucking people getting fucked, you know, in the parties, and just like little, like all these elements, the music elements, the camera movements. Like a lot of times they'll move the camera and it's like one long continuous shot, and
I was loving
you'll
that.
see.
Man. I was loving those cameras.
Yeah, it's just so well choreographed, and Damien Chazelle's a beast.
And their cuts, like when they would do like the little like montages of cutting through like all the different parts of the camera, like clicking the thing and like running the film, and that was beautiful. It was fun.
The things that they did and still do to make a fucking picture on a screen, just, it's a fucking battlefield. Like, people were dying.
We're dying, I know.
For real.
I don't know. I feel like there were good metaphors in there. Like, yeah. It was a battlefield.
Because people do die on set, and they have died.
Who was that director? Like, motherfucker, he was just going crazy every second. Like, that was great.
Even in, the battlefield was like, felt like a real battlefield.
Yes, that was so great. And the dude died. It was real.
It was like,
so many things about that. So many things.
Took it to the chest.
I really could appreciate that, man. Really could appreciate that. And I'm glad that Brad Pitt died, because I really did feel like that felt like more real Hollywood now. You know what I mean? The greatest talent and all those people who you think, oh, this is the other side of the screen. Like, they have no problems. They're rich. Their life is great. They're rich. But no, like, people are still humans, and all that comes with a cost. Even if it's just the people around you. Like when Margot Robbie was at the party snapping. Like the ritzy party. Like, yes.
And she fucking vomits all over that dude.
That was wild. That was a bit too much.
That was perfect.
But I did like to see the ritzy go out like that for a second.
Margot Robbie vomiting on fucking
on
rich
society,
asshole,
on culture,
and elephant shitting on the camera. Like, that's what you're gonna get out of this movie.
I agree. It was
this
a lot of.
This is a hard R movie.
It was a hard R movie. It was a hard R movie. Like, there was a lot of nudity in there when I'm looking back on those scenes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you weren't paying attention because there was so much, like you said, it was like the focus was on a character doing something dramatic.
Yeah.
But there was people just all over the background.
But it also, it wasn't like hyper-sexualized.
It wasn't. It was just like the time.
It was just showing what was happening.
It was literally like art. I hate to say it, but it was like the sex was like art in the film.
Even like them showing Margot Robbie, like, she wasn't sexualized at all. She was just
the character.
They didn't show her ass or anything like that. Like,
they did, I think, because she pulled that skirt up one time when she was dancing on the table. But it was it wasn't about that.
I mean, she was using her assets.
It was her perspective, though. You know what I mean? I feel like the movie was really following her perspective. Like, as the wild child, that was her. Jump all over the place, be crazy.
Excess,
on
That's
the table.
Metaphor for the whole movie.
Yeah, it was good though. Rate it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the first 2/3, I loved every second. It did slow down, so that'll deduct it maybe. But I mean, I would say like,
that'll deduct it.
That'll deducted a point. So let's say 9. It would have been a 10, but it's a 9.
Whoa, way higher than I thought you were going. I'm gonna say an 8, and we'll land at an 8.5, and I'm okay with that.
Well, what did you not like about it?
The ending was a bit much for me. And for you, maybe you said that took off a point. That kind of took off 2 points for me, because by the end, I'm not saying I was yawning, but I was like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
this movie's like, over 3 hours. Remember that like, part.
The filmmaker was very, what's the word for it? Just, he just was, you know what I'm talking about?
Like he put everything in. Nothing got cut, it felt like. There was a lot of times when I'm like,
indulgent.
Okay.
Like very probably indulgent.
Boom, yeah. And he was like, even the end scene where it's like going through the whole history of Hollywood. I'm like, okay, like, bro. I'm like, just
Manny was the whole future of movies was going through his eyes.
That was crazy.
He saw a vision of
I felt like they were trying to hypnotize me, dude.
The Matrix and fucking Avatar.
Yeah.
That validated my love for Avatar, so
oh my gosh. I thought it was meta because Avatar was like literally in theaters right now. So that was crazy.
That was Avatar 1 probably though.
Yeah, of course it was, because they obviously would not have the rights for Avatar. But anyway. Yeah, it was great. It It was great, but that was long. I didn't think that was. They could have added that way earlier in the film.
Put it this way, like, if you make a bunch of indie movies and you get a blank check, this might be the last time you're gonna be able to do what you want with it. So respect for him just putting everything in there, like not cutting anything out. Which,
yeah, but it was long though. And I respect it, but it was still
any
at
other
like
filmmaker would be
2.5 hours, man. I was sitting there like, dude, why are we back here with this family? Okay, why are we, like, I don't know. I feel like that was the part where it was getting a little bit like his post part of his life.
Yeah.
I felt like that was almost taking away from the beauty of the movie. I feel like I was already left with a sense of awe, and then they kept it rolling, and that was losing me. They needed to give
him a story and to be able to see.
But he had the story when he drove off that last time. That was the movie. We really didn't develop
but you wanted
past
to see what the next progression of to see himself on the. He saw fucking himself.
That wasn't himself.
I mean, like what
he went through.
What he, like, they use a fucking white actor to represent his
story of what they were doing.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. But that was so unnecessary. I got it, the beauty of it.
I thought that was.
But they could have cut it. It would have been more like. It would have been cooler or more artistic, just to me personally, to leave it off when he drove off. When Margot Robbie was missing and he drove off. Because everything pretty much happened that we thought would happen. So there was really no point in showing us all of that.
Because then
but
you're
to do that
asking,
history.
so he stayed in the U.S.?
Yes, or did he make it out?
Yeah.
Is Margot Robbie dead?
Well, no, and then we find out he's in New York. He was in New York the whole time, and I feel like, someone would have tracked his ass down.
And killed him. Yeah, that didn't do it for me. Yeah. The ending part didn't do it for me. They could have cut that when he drove off, and I thought that would have been a good movie. They would have got their love story on, and you know what I mean? And he would have got his validation from her. She would have ran off, and you would have been like, dang, Hollywood.
Yeah, that makes sense for
you know what I mean?
For her character.
Hollywood.
Yeah,
and you would have been cool with that. But they kept going with it. And I guess it was cool that you got to see his family and shit, but I didn't think it added to the movie or helped it like climax in any kind of way. It wasn't a climax I even hoped for. Maybe if like his daughter was like, oh wow, film, I wanted to do that too, or some shit. He's like, nah.
She said it was boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Which that also says something too.
It did nothing for me. That whole end did nothing. I thought it dampened the effect of the movie. It dampened all the like, it was just like a lot of energy and shit.
And really wanted to be more quiet and like it was very contrasting from the first part.
And maybe that was saying Hollywood is changing and new Hollywood is not what old Hollywood was, but I didn't care about that. We were in the 1920s and 30s. We didn't need to go all the way to the motherfucking 50s or whatever the fuck we did.
Yeah. Again, I'll say the music was just amazing.
Yeah, that was hot.
I mean, this is from the guy that did Whiplash, and La La Land, so he's always got the hits, the hot.
There was one more character I failed to mention. The Asian chick, I can't remember her name. She was killing. I liked her character. And she had like a little baby arc, and I liked her little arc of like, you can't be with her because it's bad for her image. I thought that was going to come back around on somebody, but it seems like everybody who left or got kicked out of Hollywood or made it out of Hollywood.
I didn't quite get her
survived
arc a little bit. I mean, she was like chose Margot Robbie
she was low-key lesbian.
Yeah.
Like because of the time, I guess she had to be low-key about it or something. And she was the actor in whatever that show was. She did that show. And because her and Margot Robbie started getting close, they told her, you can't keep doing this because it's bad for her image. And so she ended up having to leave, but at the end of the day, Margot Robbie ended up crashing and burning anyway. So it was almost like,
neither of them.
Yeah.
Neither of them were able to.
Mute point. And also, I feel like there was some weird tension there between her and Manny because, obviously he wanted her out of the picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he did a couple little deceitful, sneaky things there.
Yeah.
So I feel like her story added to the rest. And you knew that she had her family she was taking care of.
Beyond that.
But she was another main. I feel like she was a main.
She was talking about her pussy.
That was fire. That pussy song was fire.
Great singer. Let's talk about the fucking snake scene.
I thought that was cool. At first, I'm like, why is this in here? But then I thought about what they said about her in the bathroom, and she was just trying to validate, like, yo, me and my dad aren't who you think we are almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're talking all this shit.
Fucking
You
tough
guys are,
shit.
what was you saying? Like, you guys are the
Tough
pussies.
shit, yeah.
All these men
I
around
actually
here.
didn't see,
and y'all ain't
or
doing
actually,
anything.
I was struggling to hear what they were saying about her.
They were just
'cause
talking about like she's trash and her and her father are trash.
Could you hear like people?
It was like
fucking
another
moving
movie
around
going
and a
crazy
movie going
in the
on
other
in it?
theater. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah. Anyways, that was fucking annoying as shit.
It was like literally it sounded like Avatar was happening next door, like in surround Dolby sound.
I could not hear what they were saying.
Yeah,
I
anytime they got low, I was just like, I'm like, why would they have these
they were
theaters
just
so
basically
close?
calling her a whore and a pussy and
No, they were saying that they don't, I can't remember what they're saying she thinks about herself, but she's just all these obscenities. And her dad is even worse.
Yeah, well, he kind of is.
Yeah, he was, for sure. And so then, that's why she's like, well,
She's trying
let's
to do
go
something.
do the snake. Yeah,
something
macho,
masculine.
But I thought it did prove her point, though. All these people judging her and everything, but like,
bit in the fucking neck. Like, I thought she was done.
But my Asian girl saved her. And you're gonna tell me she's not a main? She's not a main. She sucked the blood out of her neck. Ooh, excuse me, the venom.
Yeah. That's a real one. Anyone who's gonna suck the venom out of your neck after you got bit, I guess most people would probably do that.
I bet they wouldn't, because they probably wouldn't even know what to do.
Yeah.
Even though I was sitting there looking like, oh, no, he's gonna suck the shit out of her neck.
She was sitting there for a while.
Yeah, I thought she would have been dead for sure. She had like a certain kind of adrenaline about her, though. Maybe she could just live through damn near anything.
Goddamn. I mean, we could talk about every single scene.
Yeah, it was pretty good, but 8.5 is just what it is, unfortunately. I wanted it to have a 10.
That's probably right.
I wanted to have a 10 if I'm being real, but I couldn't because they wouldn't stop. They wouldn't stop.
There is a 10 in there.
There's
somewhere.
a 10 in there. That's real talk, bro. There's a 10 in there. It was a 10 with too much, which started to hit off a couple pegs.
Yeah.
But all the characterization in there was just magnificent, dude. I loved that. I loved the characters. I feel like that was what was. It didn't feel like Avatar. It didn't feel like Wakanda Forever. I was there. I was in it this whole 3 hours until we hit that ending. I was on that ride, and honestly, I did not want it to stop. I was thinking like, wow, what else could happen to these guys? Like, I was actually excited, but then we get to that end part, and it's just like,
again,
okay.
I know you didn't like the Tobey Maguire stuff and going down to the
It's
dungeon.
not like I didn't
but
like
I was like,
it.
we're in a whole nother movie.
Yeah,
like,
I
what the
agree.
fuck is this?
I agree.
These fucking like underground fucking fight ring.
And a guy eating mice and in a freak show.
I thought there was
wild.
like KKK, like people.
I thought that's where it was going too. I swear I thought that
was like
when he
people
starts
with
putting the
hoods and
white
shit.
paste on his face, I was like, oh, we're going there. But they didn't do it, thank God. But yeah, that guy was a problem. I knew, man, I'll say this. That sentence with the tension was being built
Tobey
there.
Maguire was fantastic. Like, he was just fucking crazy.
He
like,
was just Spider-Man, though.
He was just tweaking.
All I saw was crazy Spider-Man.
He was tweaking.
That's what Venom should have been.
Yeah. Like his eyes were skinny, or like he was skinny and his eyes were red.
They were red. I was wondering what if like they had put a lot of like, wow, that was crazy.
Maybe he's just,
Well, he did look like a 20s drug addict. Or dealer. I don't know. I couldn't tell. But yeah, that book was great. It felt like you could really feel the tension of set. When that moment is coming up and when we hit it. Like, I felt like you could really feel that in this movie. And that was well captured. Very well captured.
Wait, what?
Like that feeling where, did we get the shot? We got to get the shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's my favorite part about it. Yeah, and even like going from set to set, almost like they're little studios. Like, man, I've never seen that portrayed on film in that era before. Like, it's the green screen of today, but they just use all practical effects and just use creative ways of doing it without the technology that we had today.
Yeah,
basically.
for sure. Yeah, it's just like it's probably like, if I had to guess
like
how
snow,
it went,
they did. Someone's
like
like up there, like putting little flakes of
maybe
fake snow and rain, and
there couldn't have been 10. How many? It was like, I don't know how many. We walked by a lot of those, but it was probably, we'll say like 20 sets then. of just different environments.
Yeah.
And they would just go through each movie like bouncing around to these different little backgrounds.
Yeah.
It was literally just a background. You know what I mean? Like,
That's awesome.
we shoot on this background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, films are pretty much the same in a lot. No, they're not. I guess everything is digital these days. They barely do things practical if they don't have to.
I mean, again, yeah, just that theme of
That's
going
real
to
talk.
the, like, knowing what the wave's gonna be, like the next thing in film, which I thought was fitting because they put Avatar in there. Like, James Cameron's all about, you know, pushing the medium in film and blah blah blah. But that's what it is. It's like, what's the next really big thing in film to change the whole game that people are gonna be like, changes the, like, people react to it and they're just clapping, like when they first hear sound in the movie, like everyone's going crazy because it's like so revolutionary. Like, what's the next, you know, that next thing? Like,
Virtual reality, most likely.
yeah, it's, you know, like people would just latch onto it and it just becomes the norm.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was powerful. Good Hollywood movie. If you
And that's
were in
why
Hollywood,
I loved how we had him see the color, because he hadn't been in the movies in years, it felt like. So I don't think he had seen a movie in color and all that. Like, he saw Singing in the Rain in color.
Oh yeah,
remade.
yep.
And he started crying, and yeah, like, I thought if we had ended it before that, like, I don't know, I wouldn't like, that moment was too good. I know you wanted to end before that, but
Yeah, I didn't need that nostalgia and all that.
I don't know. For me, that it, like, went down a little bit, you know, with the love story and, like, being a little bit slower in that segment, but then I think that ending part took it up a little bit for me. So yeah, 8.5 is probably fair.
Well, you heard it here first, people. Go see Babylon. We out.